Hey everybody, my name's Jeremy Sibbett. This is a training for Dotloop, as I know a lot of people have never used it before, and so I was asked to do a quick little training on it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is jeremysibbett@gmail.com, and my phone number is 541-973-3840. I'd be happy to help if you have a quick question or something like that. Most of you probably never heard of me. I live down in Rogue River, so down in southern Oregon. Roseburg is up here, so I'm about an hour or more south of you guys, but I'm really excited about this new office. I do a lot of business in the South County and Grants Pass area, and then Medford, Jacksonville, Ashland, all that. This whole area is kind of home for me, and where I do a lot of my business, and I do some business in Roseburg too. So I'll be up a couple days a week, I'm hoping. But when I'm not there, I'm down in Rogue River. So would love to get some referrals if anybody has business south of Roseburg. Anyway, so Dotloop, I don't know what you guys have used before, but it's probably pretty similar. Really, it's just a different format to the other transaction management tools. There's two ways you can get to Dotloop. So you can just go in, type in dotloop.com, and it'll bring you in here. Or you can go into, I don't know if you've messed around much with your MyKW site, but if you go to what is it, mykw.kw.com, it'll bring you to this site here. It has all sorts of really cool stuff. I would dig in if you have some free time. Go on to KW Connect. That has tons of videos. There's just a lot of stuff in here to get into. I might do some more videos to explain how to do some of that stuff. But you can go to Start My Transactions right here, and that'll also take you to Dotloop. Either way, it's all linked. It doesn't matter which way you do it. There's also an app you can get that'll be linked to this stuff, so you'll see your loops. It doesn't have quite as much functionality as the website does, but it can be handy. It's important that you see the colors like this. It's red and black. Anybody else that's not from our brokerage can use Dotloop too, but for most people the colors are blue and white, I think. And so if you don't have red and black, then you don't have like the Keller Williams special Dotloop. And what's important about that is our principal broker probably won't be able to see your files. So if it's blue, definitely let our MCA know, or you can call Dotloop directly. I should have that number, but I don't. But if you just call them, they have really good customer service, and you can just say, hey, I need my Keller Williams red Dotloop, not the blue one. And I've done that before, and they'll just with a click of a button switch it, and then you'll be okay. So basically what Dotloop is just a place to do pretty much all your paperwork and do electronic signatures, and store all your files so the broker can review them. So basically a loop is really just like a folder, but they've just kind of made them circles. So to start off, you would just go in. You probably don't have any loops in here, but you'll create your first one by hitting this plus button. So you go like that, and then you're going to type in an address for your transaction, either your listing or something you're writing an offer on, something like that. So I'll just write in, say, 1000 Northwest Witherspoon, and it'll try to guess what you're doing. And I think this is a fake address, so it won't have that. That doesn't matter. Anyway, so you just type, you can call it anything too, and you can have like a working loop, where you just kind of do other stuff or just store random other files. Doesn't matter. But anyway, so let's say that I was getting a new listing, and it's 1,000 Northwest Witherspoon. So I just created a loop. Um, so you could see on here already built into it that I'm still in the Eugene branch, but the MCA and the principal broker should be able to see this stuff automatically, which is cool. So there's the easiest way. You can drag and drop files into here, or you can hit browse and just upload things. So let's see here. So let's say that you're going to upload listing form, and you can just hold down shift. Let's say you wanted to upload those 3 files, and then you hit open and it'll upload them, and so now you have 3 files in your loop, right? So like when you first get your listing, you just want to put all the files in there that you would need before your listing goes live. And then if you want to have somebody sign something, you just click on one of the files, and then you can go down and say, you can add a signature, or you can add initials. So the main ones you use. Sometimes you use a checkbox or add a date, things like that. But this is anything you want to add. So if I wanted to add a signature to have somebody sign, you do that, and then you would say assign that field. And so far nobody else is in this transaction, but let's say you wanted to add your seller, right? So you would say Susan Seller, and you'd add her email would be susanseller@gmail, and you got to do the little red things, the ones that are red. You don't have to do all these though. I pretty much never fill those out. But anyway, you just add a person, and then that person's information will be in this loop forever now. So you just go down to all the places that you need somebody to sign. You say, add initial. You go to assign field. Now she's up here, so you just click that, and then it's gonna send her an email at the end of here that says, hey, he has some things for you to sign. Review the documents, whatever it says, but it will send them to her. So you go through here, you go through all the places you need initials and signatures and things, and you probably don't need to go through all that. You get the idea. But let's say you wanted a signature here, you do that. And when you're done, when you have all the initials and signatures set up that you want to send out, you go up here and you hit save and share. Okay, so that's gonna pop in here. So it says there's 6 things that we're gonna ask Susan to sign, and you don't need to do anything. You can just hit share, but usually I'll type a little message, like, hey, here are the listing forms for you to sign, and then you hit share, and then it's going to send them an email, and then when they've signed, you'll get an email back that says they signed, or you can just wait in here, check in every however often, every day, or however often you check your documents, and you'll see the things that people have signed and things people haven't signed. So that's kind of the basics of just putting in a form and having somebody sign it. Let's see, what else could we do? There's also folders. So typically I will have a folder for the listing stuff, and then once somebody writes an offer, or we write an offer, if we double end it, I'll have a sales folder, and then if you click on these little dots here, you can rename. Instead of just saying folder, you could say listing folder, and then you can keep things separate. And sometimes if you have like multiple offers, or if you have offers that several offers that have been rejected and things like that. You might have more folders. You might have maybe another sales folder, and just have say their last name, and then maybe this one you would rename to rejected, sales folder, something like that. You don't have to do that, but it helps, especially if you have a listing for a long time. You get a lot of documents in it. You can have different folders and put different files in it. What else? So one of the other cool things about this is, if you send out something to sign, and then it's going to send them an email, and if they have questions, they might just hit reply to that email, and that's going to come up here under messages. So like right now, it started basically a conversation with what I said when we sent the file over for them to sign, but they might come back and say, hey, you forgot we were going to offer $5,000 earnest money, not $2,000, whatever it is. They might say something instead of signing it, and then you can say, oh yeah, and then you can change it. So let's say you wanted to do that. Let's say they had a problem with something, so you can go back in here. It's still going to have the little fields that you put in here, but let's say you want to change something. So obviously this stuff was made in zip forms, but you could change something. So let's say in zip forms I had the wrong address on here for some reason. So you could go in here, add text, and you could plop it on here, and you could type in the right address, which we're saying is right. So you can do stuff like that, and then once you've made your corrections, you can go to save and share again, and it's going to resend it. Okay, so then you can do that. Something that also happens sometimes, especially with people that don't use email very often. Sometimes maybe you've sent something to them, and it's been a couple days, and they still haven't signed it or something like that. So you could go back in here and hit share if it's still waiting on them to sign. And it says, still waiting on Susan to sign. If they had opened that email, it would say, waiting on, Susan opened it, but still waiting for a sign, something like that. So there's a little indication that they've at least looked at it. And you can also look through, the activity log on here, and it'll show what they've looked at and things like that, which is pretty handy, but a little more advanced. Anyway, if they haven't signed it for a while, or they say, hey, I don't see it, you can go back in here, click share, and you can say reshare, and then you would check for her, and you say reshare, and that would send another email to her. So that's a pretty cool feature. Let's see what else. Something else that's pretty cool that I don't think most other programs can do is, let's say you went out to get a new listing, and you had paper documents with you, and you had people sign them in person. Then you come back and you scan them all. It can kind of be a pain in the butt to try to separate all that out into different forms if you just have a stack of like 25 pages. So you can actually do that in here, which is pretty cool. Let's see here. So let's see if I have a big. So I have this file here. This is not the same thing, but it's it's this big, huge, file. It's got 19 pages. So in this case, this is a more of like an offer, not a listing. But it's got all these pages in here, and you could just leave it in here in one big clump, but it's going to be harder for you, and especially harder for a principal broker, to kind of tell what's there and what's not. And so one of the cool things about Dotloop is going to be our principal broker is going to be able to go through here and kind of check off her list, everything that's here, and she might say, well, you don't have you don't have a certain disclosure that you need, or you don't have whatever it is. So it's going to be hard for her if it's all just in one big file. So it's always nice to separate it off and label things. You really want to label things so that it's easy for her to know what everything is. So it has this thing in here called split document. So you go under File, something that you've already uploaded. You can download it or print it, things like that. You can also rotate, like if you scan something and it's upside down, you can rotate it left and right, which is cool. But the split document thing is something I've used a lot, and it helps to have a piece of paper. So I got a little piece of paper in front of me here, and we have a bunch of pages here, right? So the main sales form is, what is it, 11, 12 pages? It's 11. So just bear with me here and you'll see what I'm doing. So pages 1 through 11 are the sales agreement. So I've written that down on a notepad. Okay, so page 12 is the inspection agreement, addendum, inspection. 12. Okay. 13's promissory note. Okay. 14's, and it's probably 2-pager, right? 14, 15 is the well addendum. And 17 and 18 is the septic. Sorry, that was 16 and 17 is the septic. I messed up. So you gotta be kind of really careful. Like I just messed up there, and I had one of the wrong pages. But if you write it all down, you'll keep it straight. So 18's lead-based paint. 19's wood stove addendum. Okay, so that's all of them. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 7 different, things that you could separate it out to. So I'm going to go split document, and it'll start off with just 2. So you could just, split it in 2. But we're actually going to split this one PDF file into 7 things, which is pretty cool. So, so you have to get the pages right here. So this is page 1 to 11 is sales agreement. Okay, and then page 12 to 12, 13, 13, 14 to 15. This is well addendum. This one is promissory note. This one is inspection. This one's going to be lead face paint. And this one's going to be septic addendum. And this one's going to be the wood stove. So I might not have these pages right, doesn't matter, but I think I got them right. So anyway, once you get this all right, you have to make sure you have them all labeled, and you have to make sure all the pages are the right pages that you want in each one of those things. And you hit split document, and then that fast it's going to split it, and then you'll see what happens. Well, so it brings you back to the first one, but if we go back, you'll see, look, now it's split them into a bunch of different files, which is super handy. So that's one of my favorite things, little features in Dotloop. You can do that. You can also, like I said, if you had something and it was upside down, you could rotate it. In this case, it's going to look funny, but if it came in like that, then you could rotate it the other way, and then you get it right. So that's nice. I know I'll get a lot of things like that scanned from other agents upside down, which is real fun. So that's kind of some of the basics. So at first, you're going to be filling out a loop for each of your transactions. Each listing is going to have a loop. Each offer you write is going to have a loop. Eventually you're going to have a ton of loops in here, and it can get kind of confusing. These little notifications are, things that have happened in that loop. You get notifications. So, like, what kind of notifications are? Oh, this is old. That was a really old one. Anyway, you'll get a notification if somebody signs something. So this is a deal that's closed here, but you ended up getting quite a few files in there, and it shows when things have been signed, when they've not been signed. So you'll notice here on the side, this is says approved. It could also say reviewed, things like that. So if we go back into our file here, it says not submitted here, right? So when you have everything in here, and you're ready for the principal broker to look at it, you're going to go up here to the right. This is important. So right now, this hasn't come up on our principal broker's radar. This is just pretty much you seeing it. I think maybe if she really tried, she could go in and look at it, but it's really not going to show that she has to do anything yet. But she has to review our files within a certain amount of time. So it's important as soon as you get them, you put them in Dotloop, and then you submit for review. And I don't know what that's about. Anyway, but you're gonna hit submit for review, and then it's gonna say, on the side, submitted. On all these files that are in the folder. So you submit certain folders. And then once our broker has looked at them, it's going to say reviewed. And then, so what she's pretty much going to be doing is going through, checking them off the list. Yeah, you got that, yeah, you got that. But she's going to see things that you might be missing. So under tasks down here, she can add a little thing, it says, hey, you need to get proof of the water rights, or you need to, you don't have the band test in there yet, or whatever it is. She'll have a little list of several things usually on each deal, unless you've really done a great job ahead of time of tasks that you're going to need to do. And then as you drop more files in here, you only need to submit this once, and then this loop is really going to be on her radar. So anything else that you throw in here, it's going to send a notification to her that you've added in something, and then she'll pop in here as often as she can, and she's going to see, okay, yes, he added this, and then she'll take that off the list of tasks until hopefully eventually you've got everything that you need in there. So that's real important that you do submit for review, and then you check the tasks. And then under messages, the principal broker and you can have a little conversation about this specific loop through here, which is really nice, because at least you'll know what she's talking about, versus sending an email or a text about something. at least right here you know which transaction she's talking about, and you can go in here and change something, and then say, yep, I did it, whatever, and you send the message back. So that's pretty handy. Let's see, what else am I forgetting? Oh yeah, I was going to say, eventually you're going to have a ton of loops in here. By default, I think this filter here is going to filter out deals that have closed, or if you flag things right, it'll filter out deals that are dead. So you could click in here and say this is listing for sale under the status of, you don't need to do this right off the bat, but it's a good habit to get into. You could say, okay, we're pre-listing, then you would change it to active listing, under contract, and usually the principal brokers I've had before don't want you to mess with this part. They'll do that, and that'll be kind of part of their checklist, but eventually they're going to change it to sold, and then once that happens, it'll kind of drop off the main list here, so it won't be clogged up with your hundreds, hopefully, of previous deals. Let's see, what else would you guys need to know? That's probably the basics of it. Hopefully the volume's okay. My mic is weird, so I might have to redo this. But anyway, if you have more questions, please reach out to me. Again, my email address is Jeremy Sibbitt, Jeremy, S as in Sam, B as in boy, ET, @gmail.com, and my phone number is 541-973-3840. So if you have a problem and you really need help quick, feel free to reach out. I'll help you. But for now, let's call that good. And I'm going to do a class probably within a week or two here to kind of help people, and then maybe I can help you with one-on-one problems there too. And it's possible this training could just be crap, and I might redo it too. so let me know if there's lots and lots of things that I missed or certain questions that you have, and maybe I'll come out with another video with some more advanced stuff on there. Anyway, take care, guys.